welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name's Ariella and I make videos about medical school, lifestyle, and education. And if you're not new, you might have noticed that I am not at school. I am at home, if you've seen any of my previous videos. Basically what happened is my brother's school closed down. He goes to school in New York, and so all of the colleges in New York City have been closing down because of cases of COVID-19 or suspected cases. So he ended up taking the bus down to Philly. I picked him up and I figured I might as well just come home because I have no mandatory lectures this week at all. So I'm gonna stay here until Thursday night and get some work done kind of away from my campus. This is also good because I wanted to try not going to lecture anyway and see what I prefer. I think I'm gonna prefer going to lecture, but we'll see how it goes. So today I think I have one PCS lecture, which is an hour, and then I have two CRP lectures, one of which is 2 hours and the other is 1 hour. So I have 4 total hours of lecture to do today. The PCS lecture, which is first, would have just started, so I need to wait about an hour for it to go up on our recording service. I think what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to work on Zanki until that goes up, or until my brother wakes up and he wants to go to the gym. So whatever comes first, that will be the next thing we do. So I just wanted to give you a little update on what my study matrix looks like now. When we had our introduction to CRP lecture, I had an idea to add different sections to the CRP spreadsheet. So as you can see, I still have my download to iPad section, but now I have 4 additional sections. So preview means I looked at the lecture the day before or like the morning of, just to get an idea of what we're learning today, and that's kind of like my first pass. I would say like my half first pass because I don't pay a ton of attention to the information. It's just so that I know what to expect when I get to the lecture. And then so we still have our lecture category. That's gonna be like our second pass. That's where I actually sit and annotate onto the PowerPoint, or will I watch the lecture from home. And then we have a section when I was talking about the upperclassmen before, her Anki decks are pretty short, so that's really nice because a lot of people end up using boards resources for this class. So I'm going to go through her Ankis and make sure that if there's anything that she missed that I think is really important, I will add it to it, but it's nice to have that resource already available to me. And then the next thing is a summary page, kind of. It's not quite the same as my summary pages have been in the past. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to take the learning objectives from that lecture and answer them as if they were questions. And then the last block is quiz questions, so I'm going to make about like 5 to 10 quiz questions per lecture. That way when I get to the quiz and the exam, I have a large bank of questions that I've created that I probably won't remember, so I can go through and test my knowledge. The OMM and the PCS sections are the same, so as you can see I had a lecture yesterday, so I downloaded it. I'm not making Anki decks for OMM or PCS, so that part is blacked out. It's like not applicable. But I did also attend the lecture, so that's green. And yeah, this is what my spreadsheet looks like so far. I actually really enjoy this system. I think it's gonna make me really organized. I just need to keep up with, making this spreadsheet. But the nice thing is now that it's made, I can just copy and paste this onto a new section down here. So when I make like week 28, I can just copy and paste onto a new sheet and it will be all good to go. So I really enjoy this system. I think a lot of medical students use this when they're making like a study matrix. I know that Kian MD, she's a Canadian medical student, makes a study matrix, and I think this is kind of like a nice way to keep track when you have a ton of lectures to do. Okay guys, so we are going to be heading to the gym soon. I just did a little bit of Anki and YouTube. It's about 10 o'clock now, and I can kind of already see the advantage of just watching lectures from home. The daylight savings time change was this past weekend, so I'm not used to getting up at 5, but once I am used to getting up at 5 again, I think it could be really useful just because I can get up early, get my workout out of the way, and then do note cards before the lectures are even up. My only gripe with this is that I really dislike watching lectures until the evening. So sometimes when we have lectures from 2 to 3, they won't go up until 4 o'clock, and then I have to be watching lecture from 4 to 4:30, which I really don't like. I don't know why. Something about the afternoon is just not as productive for me. But I know that some people will skip a day and do all the work from yesterday on that day, so I can see how like that might be helpful because you can get all your work done in the morning. So we'll just have to see how this schedule ends up working out for me. My brother didn't wake up until just now, so I couldn't really go to the gym and get my workout out of the way. So we are gonna go now, and then I'm gonna watch all my lectures from today.
Close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go.
So we just got back from the gym and running errands. It's about 12 o'clock now, and so I'm going to watch my CRP lectures. I usually watch lectures on 2x speed and then just pause it and rewind when I need to catch something. Hello, microwave. So those are going to be my top priority, and then once I finish everything related to those lectures that you saw in my spreadsheet, then I'm going to move on to primary care skills, just because that's a little bit less high yield at the moment, so that's my plan.
Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways. And on we'll and we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to.
Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty rough. Something was wrong with the recording, where like there's this high-pitched kind of mosquito-like buzz. I don't know if you guys had that in middle school when they would set their ringtones to the high frequency pitches that you tend to lose hearing for those high frequencies as you get older. So people's ringtones would go off and the teachers wouldn't be able to hear it, but everybody in class could hear it. And I always found it so irritating because those high pitches really like skeeve me out. I don't know why. So there was kind of this high pitch over the entire lecture, which was super annoying, and the actual voice recording was very low. If there were sound effects on the PowerPoint, those were normal volume, but I could barely hear the people talking. And so it ended up taking me a little bit longer than it should have, but it's about 2:21 right now. I'm probably just gonna take like a quick 10-minute break and then start on the summaries with the learning objectives, and also make some like quiz questions for myself in the future. Unfortunately, one of the lectures didn't actually have any learning objectives. Technically, we're supposed to have them, but sometimes professors just don't add them in. So I'm gonna have to go through and kind of make my own learning objectives. And I think that's actually kind of a good thing because it forces you to really think about the information that you're learning and decide what's high yield and what's not high yield. In order to do that, you have to have a pretty good handle on the information. Luckily, I have taken physiology in the past and we focused a lot on the heart, so a lot of this is review for me, which is really good, but I'm sure as soon as next week rolls around, I'm gonna be overwhelmed with the amount of information that I need to know. So that's kind of another thing that I have been realizing as I've been going in my med school career. The nice thing about my undergraduate institution is now that I'm in medical school, I feel like the information I'm learning is not any harder. Like the material is not that much more difficult, but it's just the volume is insane. I think that's kind of a common sentiment among people who go to medical school. The volume it's a lot, so you really need to keep up on your information. So like I said, I'm gonna take a quick break and then I'm gonna get back on it. Also, I just found out, hold on, let me prop this up. I was taking my break and I just found out that our event on Friday is canceled. So I was originally gonna go back to Philadelphia on Thursday evening, but since that's canceled, I think I'm just gonna stay until Sunday. A lot of like campus events and like different conferences and things are getting canceled because of the threat of spreading COVID-19. So we were originally supposed to do like a Special Olympics type event. We were gonna sing the national anthem, but that's being postponed. So I'm just gonna stay in Delaware. Okay, I also just wanted to put a quick interjection here. I restarted my phone and I tried to like clear out the microphone part because for some reason, every time I put a clip into iMovie, it sounded really fuzzy and like, what's the word? Distorted? I'm not sure. So hopefully this fixes it and the rest of the video will be okay. Okay, so I figured since I've been talking about what I'm doing, I would show you what these elements look like. So this is what my summary sheet looks like. I created some learning objectives because we didn't have any in this lecture, and then I went through and just talked about the learning objectives as if I was explaining them to someone. You can see my other one here. And Notability is really nice because you can make your paper different styles. So you can, on my other one, I can go up to the top corner and I can change my paper from being graphing paper to just white paper, and then your notes look really neat. That's something that I really like about Notability and just note-taking apps on the iPad in general. So that's what my summaries look like, and then so I filled in that green box on my, let me find it, my Google Sheet. So here's where I filled it in for these 2 lectures. You can see I've completed the learning objectives, and then I also just completed quiz questions for cardiac muscle physio, and I have about 10 questions per hour of lecture. So here are my questions. I'm gonna make about 20 for my other lecture because that one was 2 hours, and then I just put the answers down here. That way I'll be able to reference that in the future. So we can come over to my Google Sheet on my iPad, find the physiology of cardiac muscle, and fill that in with the green color. And I know that's done. So I've also added these lighter gray boxes, and those are the things that I still need to complete today. So I still need to do Anki's for both of these lectures. I still need to create quiz questions for the other lecture that I had today. And I need to both download the PowerPoint and watch the lecture for primary care skills. So I am really, really liking this system. Okay, so it is now 7 o'clock, and I have gotten, well, I'll show you on my sheet. I've gotten everything done, except I realized that this little gray box here, which was the physiology of cardiac muscle, I cannot do because he didn't actually finish that lecture yet. So same thing with the learning objectives and the quiz questions. I'll probably need to add to it, but I marked those as done because I started them. But this I didn't even bother looking at, just because the way Anki works, you can get cards at any time. Like mine is in random order, so I would be getting cards that I haven't learned information for yet. I don't really like to do that, so that's the only thing I didn't get done. I got done my primary care skills stuff, and that was all the stuff that I needed to get done today. However, I'll probably keep working until about 8 o'clock just to preview tomorrow's lectures, because I have a dentist appointment at 9:40. So I'm gonna try and get things done early in the morning and get some things done tonight, so that way I don't lose out on that time, if that makes sense. So I think that's all I'm gonna show for today. If you guys enjoy study vlogs, let me know, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!